Bridge to Home has been amazing. I met my social worker, who is incredible. And, sitting down with me and looking at what the barriers were, I think for a long time I had been living in places that were not accessible enough for me. And it was really affecting my physical and mental health. There are days, sometimes weeks, where I cannot wear a prosthetic. So I'm not able to leave my house. But I had been getting by doing it. There were times that on crutches I had crawled up and down the stairs to go and get groceries or to go and meet a friend and just get out of the house. And that's one of the things that my social worker at Bridge to Home showed me, was that that's unacceptable, that it can be better. You sat down with me and did a budget and showed me that it was not enough money to live off of, that it wasn't me just not being organized enough or disciplined enough or intelligent enough to make that budget work. Set me up with additional resources and programs. So, if I needed food bank delivered, rather than not getting it because I couldn't go and get it or carry the food in myself, the housing department at Bridge to Home was incredible. I had gone from worrying about housing after moving so many times that I was sitting at home, and every day I was looking for new places to live because I just didn't know how long I'd be able to stay where I was. I wasn't unpacking my house. I wasn't settling in anywhere. So the housing department at Bridge to Home really looked at everything that the social worker had given them. They had the relationships with these different places. They knew what the barriers were and what I needed, and were able to do all the hard work. And I got to see 2 places instead of 20. And when the first place wasn't a perfect match, the second place was, because it was an evaluation of what I needed, not just physically, but sort of mentally. Knowing and building that trust with Bridge to Home meant that I felt like I was protected. But I've been here a year, I'm fully unpacked, pictures on the wall. That is a type of security and peace and trust that I was really able to just focus on living my life, focus on getting healthier again, being social again. There was a conversation about the food bank, and I remember thinking I really didn't have much in the way of food in my house, and having my caseworker sit down and say, "You haven't failed. You're living on a very limited income, and you need the assistance. All of you do. It's not a personal failure. And these are the supports that are available, and I've been telling you about them, but you're not taking them." And I think that was sort of a pivotal moment for me to realize that, here's someone who works with the disabled who live in homelessness or on the edge of it. And they're telling me that this is how it is. And you can't think your way out of it. And you will not get healthier or stronger if you don't have things like heat and social activities and food in your belly. And I think that was big for me. And so that was the first time I went to the food bank. And it was when I started signing up for the Good Food Box. And I started looking at those programs differently. I started to be able to see myself differently. So it took that continued support in the home, someone checking on me, someone asking me what my goals were. I really went from feeling like I had lost everything to feeling like there was still life to be had and there was still potential. Bridge to Home is special, I think, because the caseworkers, the housing managers, everybody is very in tune with what supports the disabled need. I'm focusing now on my health. I'm focusing on things that I would consider hobbies before that I never had time for. So learning to knit or going back to painting or, just going to a park and sitting out under the trees. And I think life is, despite the disability, going back to being enjoyable. Programs like Bridge to Home are so vital and important. Without organizations like Bridge to Home, without accessible housing, I think so many of us are going to fall through the cracks. A program that bridges that gap, that ensures you're stable, so when you do get into long-term housing, you're able to care for yourself or you have the supports to help care for you, is vital. So, having an address where it's a stable address gives you access to more programs. Being able to settle down, work with a new GP, and really set out a long-term plan now that I had a stable place to stay makes a world of difference. And I think my caseworker has seen that. I think just the fact that I'm getting up each day in a little less pain, I'm a little more mobile, and I'm part of a program that's really helping me with that. And my hopes for the future is that I'm really looking forward to long-term housing and the stability of that. And I have a lot of trust in the Bridge to Home team that that's going to be not just a place to be, but the right place for me. And that is invaluable. I just want to see myself get stronger. I want to be able to, be more of a part of my community, to continue to do things like volunteer and get involved in the things that I'm interested in. And also just to be happy within a space. My mobility is limited and I'm home most of the time. So to be able to focus on things within the space and feel safe doing that, but not trapped, and enjoying where I am, I think is so important. So I think that's my goal, is just to keep working on being more social, maybe having more people over for dinner.